First Contact and Ultimatum. The massive view screen aboard the UES Horizon displayed the approaching alien fleet in stark detail. Captain Ilara Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her expression revealing nothing of the tension coiling within her. Dozens of vessels, each larger than anything humanity had ever constructed, moved in perfect formation through the outer reaches of the solar system. "They've bypassed all our outer colonies," Executive Officer Thomas reported, his voice steady despite the implications. "Trajectory confirms they're headed directly for Earth." Captain Chen nodded. "And they've made no response to our hails." "None, Captain. 17 attempts on all known frequencies." The bridge fell silent as the crew processed what they were witnessing. Humanity had expanded throughout their solar system over the past century, establishing colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan. They had detected signals from distant civilizations, but had never made direct contact. Until now. "Continue monitoring," Chen ordered. "Inform United Systems Command that we're maintaining position at Jupiter's L5. And Thomas, prepare the Whisper Protocol." Thomas's eyes widened slightly, but he nodded and moved to a secure terminal. The Whisper Protocol wasn't in any official handbook. It represented the culmination of humanity's darkest fears, a contingency developed in secret for the day aliens arrived not as friends, but as conquerors. 3 days later, Captain Chen stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of the United Systems headquarters beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth. Representatives from all 27 human settlements across the solar system had gathered, their faces grim as they watched the incoming transmission. The alien that appeared on the main display had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on a face covered in iridescent scales. When it spoke, the translation software worked flawlessly, too flawlessly, suggesting they had been studying human communications for some time. "I am Grand Admiral Vexthor of the Galactic Hegemony," the alien announced. "Your civilization has been assessed and found worthy of integration into our empire. You will surrender 20% of your resources, 5% of your population for labor redistribution, and acknowledge hegemony authority over your system." President Adama of the United Systems rose from her seat. At 73, she was a veteran of the resource wars that had nearly destroyed Earth before unification. Her voice carried the weight of someone who had seen civilization teeter on the brink before. "Grand Admiral, we welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we cannot accept these terms. Perhaps we can establish diplomatic." "You misunderstand," Vexthor interrupted. "This is not a negotiation. You have observed our fleet. You have scanned our technology. You know resistance would be futile. You have 3 Earth days to prepare your initial tribute. Any resistance will result in demonstration strikes against unpopulated areas, escalating as necessary." The transmission ended abruptly. President Adama turned to the assembly. "Options." Admiral Kazuo, head of United Systems Defense, stepped forward. A compact man with a perpetually thoughtful expression, he had risen through the ranks during the AI rebellions of the 2180s. "Madam President, representatives, what the hegemony doesn't know is that we've been aware of their approach for almost 2 years. Their communication patterns were detected by our deep space array on Pluto's moon Charon." Murmurs spread through the assembly. "In that time," Kazuo continued, "we've initiated Protocol Shadowfall." The lights dimmed, and a hologram appeared showing the solar system. Highlighted points appeared throughout, inside asteroids, beneath the surfaces of moons, in Earth's oceanic trenches. "These are our hidden shipyards and weapons platforms. The hegemony scanned our civilian fleet and our public military vessels. They have no knowledge of our stealth technology or quantum weaponry." Director Lyon of Science Division stepped forward. "The hegemony's technology is advanced, but it follows predictable patterns we've been able to analyze. They rely heavily on energy shields that operate on subspace frequencies. We've developed countermeasures that should be effective." "Should be?" questioned the Mars colony representative. "We've never faced their specific technology in combat," Lyon admitted. but our simulations give us a 73% chance of success if we deploy all hidden assets. President Adama nodded slowly. And if we surrender? Admiral Kazuo's expression darkened. Our intelligence suggests the hegemony's pattern is consistent. Initial demands are just the beginning. Compliant species are eventually stripped of resources and autonomy. Some are reduced to client states, others disappear entirely. Silence fell over the assembly. Then we fight, President Adama declared. But we need more information about their capabilities. And we need time. Captain Chen stepped forward. Madam President, the UES Horizon is equipped with our latest stealth systems. We can approach their fleet, gather intelligence, and potentially sabotage key systems before the main engagement. A suicide mission, someone muttered. Chen's expression remained calm. A calculated risk. My crew volunteered unanimously when we learned of the hegemony's approach. President Adama studied Chen's face. You have 24 hours, Captain. Meanwhile, we'll prepare our response and activate all Shadowfall assets. As Chen prepared to depart, Admiral Kazuo approached her privately. Ilara, there's something else you should know. The hegemony ships have unusual radiation signatures around their propulsion systems. Dr. Okoro has a theory they might be vulnerable to targeted quantum disruption. Chen nodded. We'll pay special attention to those systems. One more thing, Kazuo added, handing her a small data chip. If you're captured, this contains misinformation about our capabilities. Make sure they find it. 20 hours later, the UES Horizon silently maneuvered through the massive hegemony fleet using stealth technology that bent light and absorbed energy signatures. The alien vessels were even more imposing up close, living metal that seemed to pulse with internal energy, weapon systems unlike anything humanity had encountered. Passive scans complete, Lieutenant Park reported. Their energy output is incredible. Their smallest support ship generates more power than our largest battlecruiser. Chen leaned forward in her command chair. Focus on their flagship. Any signs they've detected us? Negative, Captain. Their sensors sweep right through us. Good. Deploy the quantum probes. Let's see what makes these ships tick. Microscopic drones detached from the horizon, infiltrating the nearest hegemony vessel through maintenance ports. Data began flowing back, displaying on the bridge monitors. Internal layouts, crew compositions, weapon specifications, and most importantly, shield frequencies. Captain, Communications Officer Rivera called out. I'm picking up internal transmissions. They're discussing Earth's response. Chen moved to Rivera's station. Let's hear it. A translated voice filled the bridge. The humans are scrambling to gather resources. Long-range scans show increased shuttle activity between their habitats. Exactly as predicted. Another voice. Grand Admiral, our scout ships report their military vessels are retreating to their homeworld. They appear to be consolidating defenses. A third voice, recognizable as Vexthor. As expected, species at their technological level invariably attempt centralized defense. Prepare demonstration weapons for deployment after the deadline. Target their Mars colony first. Minimal population, but high psychological impact. Chen's expression hardened. We've heard enough. Prepare to withdraw and transmit all data to command. As the Horizon began its careful retreat, an alert sounded on the tactical station. Captain, one of our probes has been detected, Lieutenant Park reported urgently. Hegemony vessels are activating additional sensors. Maintain stealth protocols, Chen ordered calmly. Prepare emergency quantum jump if. The ship shuddered violently as an energy wave passed through their location. They're deploying some kind of scanning field, Park shouted. Our stealth systems are destabilizing. Chen made an instant decision. Launch disruptors at the nearest 3 vessels and prepare for emergency jump. All hands, brace for impact. Brilliant flashes erupted as the Horizon fired specialized weapons at the hegemony ships, causing their energy systems to fluctuate wildly. In the confusion, the human vessel accelerated to maximum sublight speed, preparing for the dangerous quantum jump that would instantly transport them back to Earth. Energy beams lanced out from the alien vessels, grazing the Horizon's hull as Chen's crew fought to stabilize their systems. "Quantum drive at 90%, the navigator called out. "That's enough," Chen responded. "Jump now." Space twisted around them, as reality itself seemed to fold. The last thing Chen saw before the jump was 3 hegemony vessels turning their massive weapons toward the Horizon's position. Then they were gone, leaving behind only confusion and the vital intelligence that might save humanity. The Horizon materialized in Earth orbit, its hull scorched and systems damaged, but largely intact. Captain Chen wasted no time transmitting their findings to United Systems Command. Admiral Kazuo received the data personally, his eyes widening as he reviewed the hegemony's true capabilities and intentions. "They plan to take everything," he said quietly. "Not just tribute. They want the entire system." President Adama nodded gravely. "Then we proceed with Shadowfall. All of it." As the deadline approached, Grand Admiral Vexthor of the hegemony prepared to receive Earth's surrender. His species had conquered 17 star systems using the same tactics: overwhelming force, impossible demands, and the gradual subjugation of species too primitive to resist effectively. What he didn't know was that humanity had spent the past century preparing for this exact scenario, and they had no intention of surrendering. The counterattack. Grand Admiral Vexthor stood on the command deck of the hegemony flagship, watching with satisfaction as Earth's diplomatic shuttle approached. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of pleasure among his kind. The humans had responded exactly as predicted, requesting a formal meeting to discuss terms of integration. Primitive species were so predictable in their desperation. "Scan the approaching vessel," Vexthor ordered. "Ensure they carry no weapons." "Already complete, Grand Admiral," his second-in-command replied. "The shuttle contains 5 humans and carries nothing more dangerous than their atmospheric systems. They appear to have brought resource samples as tribute." Vexthor's scaled skin rippled with amusement. "Excellent. Bring them aboard with full ceremony. Let them see the might they face should they consider resistance." The human delegation was escorted through massive corridors lined with hegemony warriors. The aliens towered over them, armor pulsing with energy fields, weapons prominently displayed. It was a calculated show of force that had broken the will of countless species before. Ambassador Kai Lin of Earth led the delegation, her face betraying no emotion as they were brought before Vexthor. Behind her followed 4 others carrying ornate containers. "Tribute offerings, as requested." "Grand Admiral," Lin began, bowing slightly. "We bring greetings from the United Systems of Humanity. We have considered your terms and wish to discuss implementation details." Vexthor's translator converted his clicking speech. "There is little to discuss, Ambassador. You will provide the requested resources and population immediately, with regular tributes to follow. The hegemony is generous to those who comply without resistance." Ambassador Lin nodded solemnly. "We understand. As a token of our cooperation, we have brought samples of Earth's most precious resources. May we present them?" At Vexthor's gesture, the delegation opened their containers. Inside the first were rare minerals and metals. The second contained vials of water from Earth's deepest oceans. The third held botanical specimens. The fourth, digital records of human knowledge. "These are acceptable beginnings," Vexthor acknowledged, barely glancing at the offerings. "Now let us discuss the population transfers. We require your healthiest specimens for labor redistribution." Ambassador Lin's expression remained carefully neutral. "Before we proceed, our president has authorized me to extend an invitation. We request that you send a representative to Earth to formalize the agreement with our full assembly. It is our way." Vexthor considered this. It was not unusual for subjugated species to desire ceremonial submission. Such rituals often helped prevent later resistance. Very well. My adjutant Krelvor will accompany you back to your planet. As the human shuttle departed with Krelvor aboard, Vex Thor turned to his command staff. Maintain battle readiness. Should there be any sign of resistance, begin the demonstration strikes immediately. What Vex Thor couldn't know was that the shuttle carried more than just humans and his adjutant. Hidden within the molecular structure of the tribute offerings were billions of quantum nanites programmed to infiltrate hegemony systems and await activation. Deep beneath the lunar surface, Admiral Kazuo stood in the true command center of humanity's defenses. Around him, holographic displays showed the positions of every hegemony vessel. The room itself was carved from the moon's bedrock, shielded against all known forms of detection. Ambassador Lin has delivered the package, a communications officer reported. Krelvor is en route to Earth headquarters. Kazuo nodded. And our forces. General Santos stepped forward. All Shadowfall assets are in position, Admiral. Strike groups hidden in the asteroid belt, Jupiter's Trojan points, and Earth's orbital shadows. The deep-sea launch platforms are ready. Quantum disruption fields are at standby. And the Whisper Fleet. The 50 stealth dreadnoughts have moved into position behind the hegemony's formation. They await your command. Kazuo looked at the countdown timer. 3 hours remaining before the hegemony's deadline expired. Begin Operation Sunburst, he ordered quietly. Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden might stirred to life. Ships that had never appeared on any official registry powered up weapons developed in secret over decades. Platforms disguised as mining operations revealed their true purpose. Beneath the oceans of Earth, massive launch tubes prepared to fire. On the hegemony flagship, the first warning came as a cascade of system failures. Shields flickered. Communication arrays went offline. Weapons systems reported targeting errors. What is happening? Vex Thor demanded as emergency lights bathed the command deck in crimson. Unknown. Grand Admiral. Our systems are experiencing simultaneous malfunctions across the fleet. Impossible. Activate secondary systems. Before his orders could be carried out, every view screen on the flagship came to life, showing Admiral Kazuo's face. Grand Admiral Vex Thor, this is Admiral Hikaru Kazuo of the United Systems Defense Force. Your adjutant, Krelvor, is safely in our custody. He will not be harmed. However, your fleet is now compromised. Vex Thor's rage manifested as a high-pitched keen that the translators couldn't process. When he spoke again, his voice was deadly calm. Whatever primitive tricks you are attempting, they cannot overcome our technological superiority. Your species will pay severely for this deception. Kazuo's expression remained impassive. You misunderstand your situation, Admiral. The tribute we offered contained quantum nanites that have infiltrated your ships. Your shields are now operating at 30% capacity and falling. Your weapons targeting systems have been recalibrated to recognize your own vessels as targets. Preposterous. Vex Thor snarled. Begin the demonstration strikes. Target their Mars colony. On the command deck, officers scrambled to comply, but their consoles sparked and shut down. Kazuo continued. You scanned our public fleet and found it wanting. What you failed to detect was our true military capability. Allow me to introduce you. The view changed to show the solar system. Points of light began appearing everywhere, behind moons, within asteroid clusters, rising from Earth's oceans, emerging from Saturn's rings. This is humanity's Shadowfall Defense Initiative. 173 warships, 36 orbital weapons platforms, and our pride, the Whisper Fleet, currently positioned behind your formation. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Vex Thor's face. Impossible. Our scans would have detected. Your scans detect what they're designed to detect. Kazuo interrupted. Your civilization has conquered compliant species for so long, you've forgotten what it means to face an enemy who prepares. Throughout the hegemony fleet, captains reported the same terrifying development. human warships appearing from nowhere, their stealth systems dropping to reveal vessels bristling with weapons unlike anything in the hegemony arsenal. "You have one opportunity," Grand Admiral Kazuo stated. "Withdraw your forces immediately and never return to this system. We have no desire for conquest or retribution. We simply wish to be left in peace." Vex Thor's facial scales darkened with rage. "We are the hegemony. We do not retreat from primitives. All ships, open fire." The hegemony vessels fired simultaneously, energy weapons lancing out toward Earth, Mars, and the revealed human fleet. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for centuries. The human ships didn't evade. Instead, they activated quantum field generators that caused the energy weapons to fold through subspace, emerging behind the hegemony vessels and striking their own ships. 20 hegemony cruisers fell to friendly fire in the first volley. "Return fire," Admiral Kazuo ordered calmly. Humanity's counterattack demonstrated technology the hegemony had never encountered. Missiles that phased through shields as if they weren't there. Energy weapons that targeted propulsion systems with surgical precision. And most devastating, the quantum disruption torpedoes that caused hegemony ships to temporarily shift partially out of normal space, tearing them apart as they rematerialized. On the flagship, Vex Thor watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled, not through overwhelming force, but through precision, strategy, and technology specifically designed to counter hegemony systems. "How?" he demanded, addressing the still open channel to Kazuo. "How could you possess such technology? You've barely left your own planet." Kazuo's reply was measured. "We've spent our history fighting ourselves, Grand Admiral. Human ingenuity thrives under threat. When we detected your approach 2 years ago, we channeled all that experience into preparing for this moment." "Impossible. No species develops quantum phasing or subspace manipulation at your level of advancement." "Perhaps you should reconsider how you measure advancement," Kazuo suggested. "Retreat now, while you still command a fleet." Pride warred with survival instinct as Vex Thor watched another cruiser succumb to human weapons. This changes nothing. The hegemony spans thousands of systems. We will return with a force that will blot out your sun." "Perhaps," Kazuo acknowledged. "But consider this. If we develop these countermeasures in 2 years, what will we have waiting for you in 5? In 10? Each encounter will cost you more while teaching us everything about your capabilities." Around the flagship, the remaining hegemony vessels began breaking formation, their captains making individual decisions as command structure collapsed. Vex Thor stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Half his fleet destroyed or disabled, the rest in disarray. And the humans hadn't lost a single capital ship. The unthinkable had occurred. The hegemony, undefeated for 3 centuries, had met its match in a species they had dismissed as primitive. "You will release Krelvor," Vex Thor demanded, his voice hollow. "Of course," Kazuo replied. "A shuttle will return him to your flagship once your withdrawal is underway." 3 hours later, the remnants of the hegemony fleet limped away from the solar system, their mighty vessels scared and humbled. Ambassador Lin personally escorted Krelvor back to the flagship, maintaining diplomatic courtesy despite the attempted invasion. As they parted, Krelvor addressed Lin quietly. "The hegemony has existed for a millennium. No species has ever repelled us." Lin smiled slightly. "Perhaps that explains why you failed. Humanity has never known lasting peace or absolute security. We planned for the worst while hoping for the best. It's in our nature." In the aftermath, humanity did not celebrate their victory with parades or monuments. Instead, Admiral Kazuo ordered the immediate commencement of Project Starwatch, an expanded defense network reaching far beyond the solar system. "They will return," he told President Adama during the emergency session. "Next time with technology adapted to counter ours." "And we'll be ready," she replied. "In the meantime, perhaps we should consider a more proactive approach to galactic politics." 6 months later, 3 human diplomatic vessels departed the solar system, heading toward stars where intelligence suggested other species chafed under hegemony rule. They carried not threats or demands, but an offer of alliance and technology sharing. The message was simple: the hegemony is not invincible. Humanity stands ready to help others stand as well. In his private quarters aboard the defense platform orbiting Jupiter, Admiral Kazuo reviewed the reports from the diplomatic missions. Something the captured hegemony data had revealed troubled him deeply: references to the ancients and warnings about awakening what sleeps. He made a note to accelerate research into the strange energy signatures detected at the edge of the solar system. Humanity had faced its first galactic threat and prevailed, but Kazuo suspected it would not be the last. The stars no longer represented just opportunity and discovery. They now held known dangers, and perhaps greater threats yet to be encountered. But for the first time, humanity faced the cosmos truly united, their ingenuity and determination proven not just to themselves, but to the galaxy at large. And that, Kazuo reflected as he gazed at Jupiter's swirling storms below, might make all the difference in what was to come.